They say there's a young woman, a young racist in Atlanta, say racist. And they say, I guess they say that she was after a certain gang and she ended up having an affair with the head of the gang or a gang member. And this is a person that wants to indict me. She's got a lot of problems.
This is a story that we talked about yesterday on the show, an insane attack that Donald Trump is making against the Fulton County District Attorney, Fani Willis. Just lying about her past, implying that she had some sort of affair with a gang member. It's not true. He's referencing a video that references a Rolling Stone article that neither says nor implies anything like that. There is literally no evidence. He knows that there's no evidence. He knows that it's an insane, misogynistic, racist attack against Fani Willis, but he's making it regardless. And it's become such a big thing online that the DA has been forced to actually respond to it internally to her team. She's calling it derogatory and false, which is her right because it appears to be 100% derogatory and false. She emailed her colleagues and said that it's false, and she urged her staff not to respond to any of the allegations, saying, "You may not comment in any way on the ad or any of the negativity that may be expressed against me, your colleagues, this office in the coming days, weeks, or months. We have no personal feelings against those we investigate or prosecute, and we should not express any. We have a job to do. In this office, we prosecute based on the facts and the law. The law is nonpartisan. You should feel no need to defend me." And so look, that's probably a good strategy. It's got to be devastating for her and for her family and her friends to see all of a sudden millions of insane people spreading conspiracy theories against her. She cannot be surprised by this, I'm sure. She must have known that when she started to investigate Donald Trump, it was going to open up her and the people that she cares about to not only lies, but also threats, literal death threats. So feel terrible for everyone in this sphere for what Donald Trump has already done and what he almost certainly will continue to do as the indictments come out from Georgia. Mondale, what do you think?
I think, this is a playbook out of, the Southern strategy, right? We should not divorce Donald Trump from history. We should not allow the Republican parties to dance on this myth that Donald Trump is something new. And what I'm talking about is in 1968, when black people were able to be seated by the Democratic Party. This is history that people should know, right? Because we're talking about this is where Donald Trump comes from. This same line of what made the Republican Party what they are, and while they're no longer the Republicans of Lincoln, right? This is when the switch happened. When Ronald Reagan and other Democrats like Strom Thurmond left the Democratic Party to become Republicans because Fannie Lou Hamer was able to force the Democrats to seat black voters, right, at their convention and give them the right to vote. What happened was Nixon happened. After Nixon, then it was Reagan. Reagan continued on the Southern strategy that Nixon created to reach out and activate this white evangelical vote against blackness. These people who were, descendants and believers of the plantation, antebellum. So, and what happened was Reagan went to Philadelphia, Mississippi, the place where people were killed for trying to register black people to launch his campaign for presidency. And then he started talking about a welfare queen. Mm-hmm. This is the same argument that Donald Trump talking about a black woman that's an attorney letting off gang members from alleged crimes that she was investigating them for is the equivalent to a black woman. Reagan saying a black woman was a welfare queen giving her money to her pimp, her black man pimp. This story is absolutely disgusting, and we got to put it in context so people can see that as bad as Donald Trump is, this playbook is not new. It is not new, and it is dastardly and disgusting.
Yeah, and also while he's individually responsible for the things that he says and the people who spread it, who don't know or care what facts there are behind it, are responsible. Like they're doing the strategy and they have done the strategy forever because of who we are as a people. That there are so many people who want to hear this sort of thing. They see a black woman in a position of power and they want to see her destroyed. And they will readily, without any critical thought whatsoever, believe anything you say that leads to her being destroyed. Like that's who we are, or not we, but capital We, a lot of us anyway. And so it's terrible to see. It's terrible to see that it works. I would love for him to make an attack like that, and that's the end of him. Nobody supports him anymore, but that is just not the country that we live in.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.